Hello again, it's Eric Backer, back again, naturopath from New Zealand, author of Candida Crusher, creator of the YouTube channel that you're currently looking at. Thank you so much for checking out my video, I do appreciate it. We're going to talk about tuna today, tuna fish. We're going to talk about fish and probably protein consumption a bit in general. So there's a lot of fear factor today regarding tuna and ocean fish in general. I've just spent probably a good half an hour looking on the internet at different websites, Candida websites and various other sites, sites regarding food consumption and healthy diet in general. And a lot of people now are worried about fish. Many people now believe you shouldn't even eat ocean fish because it all contains mercury. Many people now are starting to post blogs that you shouldn't eat any sea creatures at all because they're all radioactive from the Fukushima fallout that we had in Japan. For God's sakes. Next thing, people tell you to stop breathing air because it's toxic. You know, that you should maybe buy bottled air and breathe that. So, as you know, I've mentioned in a previous video, I had a very good friend who subscribed to a top health magazine from the US, but he gave up on it because he said every time I opened it up, there was something else that was supposedly going to give me cancer if I didn't watch out. So he said, so in the end, I thought, well, if something's not going to kill me, something else will kill me of cancer. So he gave up, you know, subscribing to this magazine. Is tuna okay? Is tuna not okay? Here's what I want you to carefully think about. It all depends on you. It depends how much you eat. It depends on your body in general. Eating any kind of protein, you're going to take a risk that that protein could have some kind of contamination, regardless of what kind of food, what kind of protein it is, regardless of what kind of animal it is, whether it's a bird, whether it's a cow, whether it's a sheep, whether it's a fish. Animals in general can contain lots of chemicals. If you want to drill it right down and get anal, what about if an animal, even an organic animal, has a high fear rate because it's going to be killed and it secretes a whole lot of hormones, cortisol and adrenaline into its system? That meat becomes toxic. And hang on a minute, isn't organic meat supposed to be good for you? Well, not if the animal knows it's going to be killed. And this can create quite a nasty situation for the animal and also for the person who's going to eat the animal. So it depends how far you want to take this, all right? I personally don't have a problem with tuna. I do eat tuna. And I'll tell you why I eat tuna. Some research I did online last year was quite interesting. I found that the fishes that have a tendency to contain tuna, particularly contain mercury, not tuna. So if we can look at fish like shark, tuna, swordfish, the bigger kind of fish species that are prone to building up mercury levels in their body, the interesting thing is that these fishes also have high levels of selenium methionine build up in their body too. You can do your own research. So selenium tends to be in these animals by default at higher levels to get rid of the mercury. So there is some debate now whether mercury in fish really is an issue or not. I do know from some of the stuff I've read online from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Association in the States, they were worried particularly a few years ago about a lot of the fish internally in the US and the lakes with mercury. So how could mercury get into lakes in Northern America? Well, from a couple of reasons. Areas where a lot of gold, for example, was being mined, mercury was used in the process of extracting gold from particular types of ore, and it was used as a byproduct and it was dumped. So you can find mercury in rivers and lakes. And also another crazy thing you might not have thought about is until several years ago they put these special caps on top of crematoriums. They're burning so many deceased people that the mercury fillings are being vaporized. And again, this would just come down like acid rain would be dumped into mountainous areas, and this would wash into rivers, lakes and streams. And in fact, some of the lakes are so full of mercury that they actually don't even want people to swim in them anymore from crematoriums. Would you believe it? What a crazy thing. So can you eat tuna or not? Eat albacore tuna. All right. I like pole caught tuna. So you can actually buy now tuna that's been caught with poles, not with nets. I don't like the idea of consuming tuna from companies that use large amounts of nets and have dolphins and turtles as a bycatch. So you can actually shop around online and read about how tuna is caught. If it's caught sustainably with poles, by small companies in certain parts of the world, you're going to really help to provide for those families. You're going to be eating fish that's caught in a sustainable manner. It makes a lot more sense to me. Albacore tuna is a smaller tuna. Bluefin and yellowfin tend to be the really big tuna. So the bigger the fish and the older it is, the more likely it's going to have a higher level of a metal in its body. But the amount of tuna you're going to eat, come on, for God's sakes, are you going to eat a kilogram of tuna per day? You're going to have a can. And you're probably not going to eat tuna every day. Eating tuna here or there, especially if it's packed in spring water or a good olive oil, I tend to avoid the ones in vegetable oil or soya oil or those crappy kind of oils because you don't know where they come from. So, but if it's a reputable brand, I've got no problem with it, all right? Don't get anal about this mercury thing. Chances are, as I mentioned in the previous video, you're talking on your mobile phone. So if you've got a mobile phone you're using regularly, if you're on Wi-Fi all the time, chances are the damage to your DNA or your cells is going to be far greater than the microgram amount of mercury you may get from fish. If you're worried, do a hair analysis, okay? You can even do a provocation urine test. Get a DMPS injection or take some DMSA tablets, what we call a provocation test. You're going to pee out urine that can be assessed for mercury and lead and other metals. Look, everyone's got metals. Every single person on the planet will have some degree of heavy metal toxicity, ranging from minuscule up to serious. But is it causing them a problem? I can tell you now, I've tested many people over the years who've come back with metals in perfectly good health. And I've tested also many people who come back with no metal at all that are really sick. But is it all mercury to blame? We seem to have developed this blame culture in society. Today gluten's the blame. Last week it was mercury was the blame. Every so often there's another kind of substance that we blame for our ill health. We don't look at ourselves, we've got to blame somebody else, or some other substance that makes us sick. I went through a phase probably about 20 years ago where I blamed everything on mercury, where everyone had to get their mercury fillings taken out. My wife's had mercury fillings ever since she was a little girl, and she's now 50, she's in perfect health. So you can't necessarily point the finger at mercury and say it's the main cause for candida. A website I just looked at said that nearly all cases of candida are caused by mercury. What a load of crap! There are many people out there with amalgam fillings that are not sick. Dr. David Quigg from Doctors Data in Chicago, America's premier lab for heavy metal analysis, said to me, many people can detoxify mercury perfectly well from their system, especially if they don't load up on Budweiser beer and drink gin and tonics every night and smoke 10 cigarettes a day. If you don't create massive toxicity levels and you eat good food, and you regularly cleanse yourself, you've got a good ability to reduce a lot of this crap from the body. But if you pollute the hell out of your body, of course things like mercury are going to be bad, especially if you eat 10 cans of tuna a day. Use your head. A lot of this stuff's common sense that we're talking about. A tuna salad here or there, eating a fresh tuna steak here or there, in my mind, is perfectly okay. All right, so don't freak out about these kind of things. It's all common sense. There's plenty of ocean fishes that are still safe to eat, especially the young species, the smaller fishes that haven't had a long lifespan or the ability to gather a lot of these toxins in their body. My wife and I eat fresh fish twice a week. We love eating fresh fish. The Candida website I just looked at before we said to avoid all ocean fish because it's all toxic. You need to be careful of red meat consumption. Try and keep it to 500 grams, which is about a pound or less per week. All red meat, regardless if it's organic or not. I prefer to eat fresh fish as one of my primary proteins. Certified free-range eggs. I eat tofu, and then I get protein from things like chickpeas and legumes and things like that, nuts and seeds. I prefer not to eat a lot of red meat anymore. I prefer to put that on the back burner. So there you have it. Tuna is okay. Small amounts, high quality product, not a problem at all. Don't worry. None of us are getting out of this alive anyway. We're all going to die. All right? So don't freak out. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to click on my link below if you haven't got my Candida report. And subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.